This may come to some surprise to you, but it is what it is. Easter is not biblical, but it's about baby sacrifice. And in this video, we're going to show you that it's not biblical and that it's actually about baby sacrifice. Easter is only found in one passage inside the Bible. That's Acts chapter 12, verse 4. What is interesting is the origin, right? That's the only time it's found. But when we look at the actual Greek, we will discover that it doesn't say Easter. It says Pasaka, which means Passover. They connected it to the word Easter, but this word Pasaka is a Greek word that comes from the Hebrew Pascha, which means Passover. Now, why would they lie to the people and then make the people believe that Easter is associated with the Bible and it's actually biblical? Well, one thing for certain is there's only 7 holy festivals inside the Bible that God has ordained his people to keep during the Old Testament and the New Testament, and Easter was not one of them. Easter is a pagan tradition that was always about sacrificing babies. The word Easter comes from the name Ishtar and Ashtoreth. That's where it comes from, and it's about sacrificing of the children. The priests during these ancient times, they would go and force virgins to have sex with them, practically rape them. Some women would prostitute, but there was also divine offerings that was necessary to take virgins, get the virgins pregnant, and then during the day of conception, sacrifice the baby. Prostitutes would prostitute for divine blessings, to pay bills and things of that nature in order for them to survive. A lot of this was going on. And then so when they sacrificed the baby, they would cover the baby's blood, and then they would partake in some of the flesh and give the rest of the offering to the goddess by burning the baby. These are the many sick and perverted rituals that was done to the so-called fertility goddess. That is the reason why they use today now, they use a rabbit, because a rabbit symbolizes fertility. The egg symbolizes the human, but also the ovary. So today you see the ovaries being sold, and you see the babies being aborted. That's all in connection to this ancient sacrifice onto this fertility goddess. Now, don't you think it's quite interesting, the connection between the days, the actual pagan, all these pagan belief systems? You don't think there's a connection with this one that we're talking about here? Oh, check this out. Look at the date of Valentine. Valentine is on the 14th every month of February. And this is a day lust, about romance, about fertility. This is during the ending of fall and the beginning of spring, which is considered the mating season, right? But notice what comes next after that. Oh, what do you know? Easter comes next. Easter comes just about 4 weeks, approximately about 3 weeks. Do you know how long it takes to discover whether a woman is pregnant? It takes about 2 to 3 weeks. So it takes about 14 days to actually for the child to be conceived. Not the moment that the sperm is penetrated. They don't consider conception to start until 2 weeks. So if they want you to start mating and making love, everybody finds a mate on February the 14th. And then everybody starts to have sex with the intent to get pregnant. So that's 14 days after that, it's February. Isn't it interesting? February is the shortest month that typically ends on what? Oh, what do you know? The 28th. So then we're moving straight into March. And then when is the next pagan day during that time? It is 14 days inside April. April. It is on April the 9th. So then if we look at April the 9th, April the 9th is approximately 9 to 15 days after the conception, which takes about 2 weeks to 3 weeks to determine whether a woman is actually pregnant. So she could be pregnant, but they don't have the technology to prove whether she's pregnant until anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks. This is around that time period of Valentine's and the pagan time to sacrifice the baby. So instead of just sacrificing the human, you can sacrifice the ovaries by taking Plan B, all these conceptions to destroy the ovaries, kill off womb. These are all still part of the sacrifices, because you're still killing the living soul. Whether it's at 5 weeks, whether it's at 3 weeks, whether it's at 32 weeks, no matter where you are in the gestation period, you are still killing the body. You're still killing the baby, because the soul enters in the first trimester. The soul of the being enters in the vehicle, which is the body, within the first trimester. They know this. They know this. So you're sacrificing, even if you don't wait until there's a heartbeat, you're still sacrificing a baby. And many people are consciously doing this. Many people are subconsciously programmed to do this. But it's all being engineered and pushed into the culture. Now, some people will say, "Oh, wait, Jamal. Well, we don't do this. We don't do this for the sake of paganism. We do this for the sake of celebrating Jesus. We understand the origin of it. We don't do this to celebrate no demon god and things of that nature. We just want to uplift God the way we choose to. What does God has to say about that?" Exodus 23, verse 24 says, "You shall not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but you shall utterly throw them and quite break their images." So Easter bunnies, Easter eggs, egg hunting, which is so perverted amongst people who claim to be followers of the Most High God. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, I rebuke you, and you need to renounce your demonic ways. Well, some people will say, well, we're not of that group. We don't do the Easter bunny thing, the Easter bunny. We go to church on Easter rituals. What? Listen. There's no such thing as Easter Sunday, so keep the blasphemy out your mouth, because look what the next passage says. Take heed. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 30. 12:30. Take heed to yourself that you should not be snared by the following them, after that they be destroyed from before you, and that you inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. You think that you can pick and choose how you serve God? You're taking on the mindset he just said do not do. He says, don't say to yourself, how do they serve their gods? We're going to serve our God the same way. That is not okay. That is not okay. That is against this very commandment. He says, I had destroyed them before you, but you have picked up the snare. You have became a snare to their ways. There came a snare onto you, and you follow after them that were destroyed. So now you're being destroyed because you're keeping the ways of their gods, saying, how should I serve the Most High God the way that they serve their gods? How did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Curse. That is what y'all doing when y'all say, oh, we celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Easter, we celebrate this, we celebrate that, and it's nowhere supporting the Bible, and there's 7 holy festivals, and yet you saying people don't even keep none of the holy festivals. That is what's really interesting. What is more interesting is that you choose and refuse to not look at the passage and relate it to things God says to practice, but you choose to keep the practices of God that God says do not practice.